So you hear it all the time. There's no good men out there. There's no good women out there. And there's sort of this narrative around this belief system that everyone who's available out there in the dating realm is just awful and bad. Now, this doesn't mean there aren't some awful people out there, but this belief system is a problem. And here's why it's a problem. So just like in the marketing world for business, there is sort of this similar pattern of belief. So if you think there's no good clients out there, that's a problem, because the reality is there's lots of traffic, there's lots of customers, but there's a messaging issue. And if your messaging isn't resonating with the people that are your ideal client, then it's not going to land with them, and that's not who you're going to see. And so it's going to taint your experience. And it's very similar in the dating world. And so the right message attracts the right client in the business world, and the right belief system, which is actually the energy that you emanate, attracts the right partner into your life. And so I want to unpack what this is, how it works, and how you can shift that for yourself. If you're new here, I'm Ketra Thompson, and I'm the creator of the Confident Connection Method, where I use custom hypnotherapy processes coupled with mind coaching and relationship coaching so that I can help my clients reframe their subconscious programming and have the actual actionable steps that they need to have in place to create the love and the life that they want. So if you'd like to learn more, you can check out the links in the description below, where you can also set up a completely free complimentary consultation call so you and I can chat and I can get to the heart of what's going on with you and make my best recommendations. So I want to talk about a really interesting experiment that's going to shed some light on this. And I'm going to say this name wrong, probably the doctor that did it. It is Dr. Masaru Emoto. And he did the water experiment, which is really, really famous, about speaking to water and then flash freezing it and seeing the different shapes it takes based on the words that you said to it. But he also did an experiment called the water and rice experiment. And so in this, he filled 3 identical containers with the exact same rice and the exact same water. And then he changed his behavior toward each one. So every day, in one of the containers, he said to that rice, "Thank you." To the other one, he said, "You're an idiot." And to the third one, he said nothing. And the results are quite profound. He also did this just by taping words on, and he did lots of versions of this experiment after the fact. But what he found is the one that he said thank you to fermented into a really sweet aroma. The one that he said "you're an idiot" to turned black. And the one that he said nothing to got green and moldy. Exact same rice, exact same water, just a different energy going toward it. So we have to realize that we are energy, more energy than we are matter. Even when scientists go down to the smallest cell, like there's so much space in that. We're not this solid matter. We're energetic beings, and our energy is very much controlled by our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And so we're emanating energy, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. There's plenty of studies, from quantum physics to simple studies like the rice and water experiment, that prove that our energy is felt and received by the things around us. Even plants that are talked to kindly thrive and grow. When they're talked to with, meanly, they die. And so we are emanating energy. And the most interesting part of this experiment that he did was the one that he didn't even say the words. He just taped the words on, and they still had the same result. Because even as you're taping the word on, you are projecting that energy toward that rice, water, object, plant, whatever it is. And so we have to realize that we're emanating energy. We're putting it out, and people are picking up on it, whether we like them to or not. So if we have these inner belief systems that are running in our subconscious mind that have sort of a repeat thing going on in the back of our brain, then we are going to project that out into the world, whether we like it or not. And the way our subconscious mind is that it's programmed primarily from birth to age 7, and then it's additionally programmed through trauma and complex trauma, which tends to exacerbate the negative. And so we don't have any discernment when we're programming it young. And so we end up with belief systems that aren't accurate. Maybe when we don't get our needs met, we think, well, I'm not good enough or I'm not lovable. And so this is kind of the messaging that's going on in the background of our mind. And we're projecting it out into the world, whether we like it or not. So if you spend enough time with someone, you'll realize that what their belief system is starts leaking out. It starts coming out in other ways. And you see it in the way they comment on things and the way that they react to certain things. So even if they say they believe one thing, you can start to see the underlying subconscious beliefs leaking out. So that subconscious programming is running the show. And it's believed that the subconscious mind runs over 95% of everything you think, feel, and do. And some researchers believe over 98%. So that means your subconscious mind is running your belief system based on old beliefs and the way that you've cemented those old beliefs in by confirming them by what you're looking for. So I want to dive into that a little bit deeper here in a minute. But first, I want you to realize, have you ever had someone where you think you're behaving a certain way? You think you're coming across a certain way, and really inside you're feeling differently, and they can pick up on it. It happened not that long ago with me, with someone I'm dating, who asked if I was okay, and I was kind of standing with my arms crossed, and I thought, yeah, I'm fine. But inside, like, something was bothering me, and even though I didn't really show it on the outside, aside from my arms being crossed, just saying, oh, I'm cold, we were not inside. And the thing is, it was the energy. He was aware enough of my energy to notice that something maybe was off with me. And the truth was, I was contemplating some stuff in my mind. I was thinking about some stuff that maybe wasn't the most positive in my mind. And so the people closest to you can sometimes pick up on that stuff because they're used to how you are, but you need to realize that you're emanating that energy whether you are choosing to or not. And that is our messaging. So when we talk about how in the marketing world, there's plenty of traffic, there's plenty of clients out there, but if your messaging's off, you're not going to attract them. Same thing here. Your energy is the messaging that you're sending out to the world. It's emanating from you. It's being received by others in its reality, not the way that we put this, front on, not the way we're showing up and playing pretend or wearing the mask. It's actually emanating out and being received unconsciously by the people around us. And that is how we draw certain people to us, because we match that frequency, that energy with people who are thinking the same way we do. So if we're thinking that everyone out there's awful, we're probably going to line up with someone who's thinking everyone out there's awful, or that is sort of dysfunctional in the way that we believe everyone is dysfunctional. Now, I want to preface this. I want to get into what you can do to fix this, but I want to preface it with the fact that this doesn't mean everyone out there is great. There are people out there that aren't great, but the reality is that what we look for is what we find. And so we have to understand that even in the dating process, we're going to come across people that don't line up with us, and it's going to help us know more of what we do and don't want and help us refine that. But if we start making these sweeping decisions like, well, everyone I came across was this way or that way or thought this way, and it just jaded me or made me feel a certain way, then we're lumping everyone into a category and not realizing that we don't want everyone to be lined up with us. We just want to attract those that are. And we don't need, everyone to line up with us. We just need to line up with the kind of person that's a right fit for us, which means really only one person. So we want to rethink the way that we look at the situation. So how do you shift your energy? Well, first and foremost, doing the subconscious work is the fastest way to do it. We don't really have access to our subconscious mind. And so in the hypnotherapy process, especially when it's custom, we can go back and reframe those belief systems subconsciously so that you're not battling against those old beliefs as you're implementing a new way of being. So that's the fastest route. But the other thing that you can really do for yourself is identify the story in your mind. What is that story that you tell yourself? All men do fill in the blank. Women always fill in the blank, right? You attract what you believe, not necessarily what you want. It's what you believe. And so you see what you believe. Now, a week or so ago, I did a video talking about negative hallucinations, and I'll try to remember to link it. But what it's talking about is how our brain is so powerful that it believes what we tell it. So when we're looking for ketchup in the refrigerator, and on every shelf we're going, well, there's no ketchup, no ketchup, no ketchup, in the door, no ketchup, no ketchup, no ketchup. When we finally see the ketchup, we don't see it. Our brain eliminates it from our view because it is creating the reality that we're telling it is real. And so in that process, we aren't seeing what's right in front of our face. Same thing here. We aren't seeing the people that we would like to line up with because our belief system is emanating an energy that's different than that. It's actually the negative hallucination that we're sort of creating on a bigger scale. And so you want to ask yourself, is this story serving me? Do I feel good believing this narrative? Get really honest with yourself about that. Is it serving you? Probably not. Do you feel good when you think this belief? Probably not. And so then ask yourself, how would it feel if I let go of this story? How would I feel to just drop it? Probably a lot better than you feel telling yourself the story. But even though that's a simple way to go about it, it doesn't always feel easy. And so we want to focus on the good. When we choose what we focus on, it helps direct our energy. And so focusing on the good is an important part of this process. And you can feel like it's a little bit more of a battle when you haven't done the subconscious work, but it is doable. So let's say that there's 10 things in your life and 9 of those things in your life are going well. And one of those things in your life is not going well, but you're focused on that one thing. And because you're focused on that one thing, you've got to figure out it tends to get bigger, takes up more space in your brain, takes up more time in your day, and it disproportionately takes your attention. And because of that, you are now emanating that kind of energy, this problem-focused energy, which can actually bring more problems into your life because what you look for is what you find. And so what we focus on gets bigger, and we have to realize where our brain is going and start paying attention to that. So reframing those subconscious beliefs allows you to actually focus on the things that you want to focus on with less resistance. But you want to focus on what brings you joy without having to deal with the guilt or the shame or the whatever other belief is underneath there, or I'm not worthy, or no one's ever going to, no one's good, everyone's awful. You've got to get out of that loop and shift your focus to something good. And so what you've got to do is reconnect with your authentic self. You've got to reconnect with the things that you do appreciate, that do feel good in your life. Focus on the 9 things that are working well, even if they're small things, because that's how you get your focus off of the guilt, off of the shame, off of the obligations, off of wanting to figure out how to fix someone else or how to change everything that you do or say so that you can play the game right. You want to take that focus off of those things and start focusing on what is good, because that's how you draw more goodness into your life. Now, does this mean you're going to automatically just see all the good in everyone and everyone's going to be in alignment with you? Not necessarily, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay when the people you meet aren't in alignment with you. You won't be feeling rushed. You won't be feeling like you have to solve this thing or figure it out, which creates a sense of urgency in you, which can actually create a dynamic where you attract other people that kind of have this neediness sense of urgency, and it isn't maybe a good fit. And so allowing yourself to focus on what is working good is allowing yourself to slow down, to be in the present moment, to cultivate things that feel good in your life, and to challenge that narrative. When those thoughts come out, when you pick up on them, they're probably happening so many times when you don't even know they're happening. But when you notice it, reframe it. Is this serving me? How would I feel if I just let this thought go? Get honest with yourself. And even imagine like dropping that thought or belief like it's an object and just going on your way. Just letting it go. You've got to take full responsibility for what's going on in your mind and in your life by being aware. So if you'd like some more help with that, doing that deep subconscious work so you're not fighting against those old patterns to make these changes, then check out that link and let's chat so we can figure out a customized plan for you. And as always, if this content resonates with you, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click like and subscribe so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And until next time, I hope you curate a life by your own design.